Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Datamatics webinar on humanizing the digital. AI at the core of CX. And I know everyone's been talking about CX, everyone's been talking about how it impacts the human, how it impacts all of us, and what will it bring to our industry and the various different industries that are there, what technology is capable of, and what catalyst will it bring to the entire customer experience. Your customers today expect a heightened level of CX at every touch point in their journey. That's where technology and AI come together and are emerging as a huge driving force. The interesting aspect is while it's coming across, the question that continues to be asked is what is the role of the human and what is the role of AI, or what is the role of this entire technology and the changes that will bring in? What are the risks associated with it? And can it really elevate customer experience to the next level? The right technology intervention in the customer journey can help you understand, anticipate, and fulfill a lot of needs. At the same time, some of the wrong elements can also lead to hallucinations and some issues and concerns. And the right mix of AI plus human can then create the true enduring customer experience. But can we really push boundaries? What boundaries do we really need to push now? And can we really get away with just technology or create a delicate balance between technology and the human role that we have? And where does the role of the human start and where does the role of technology start? So it's a very, very interesting debate that's been happening all across. One of my colleagues mentioned to me some time ago when we were preparing for this webinar is about artificial stupidity. And Sandeep, thanks for that. I'll take that word of yours and quote it here. At the same time, it is artificial intelligence. And then we have the human layer somewhere to ensure that the right element gets delivered and the human balance, along with that, does not compromise customer experience and elevates it to the next level for you and your customers at the same time. So we've got an expert panel of people here from different organizations in different places across the world and from different time zones. We've got Kano, who's with Neosoft, and he's part of a very big Chinese technology and BPM organization. We've got Jake with us, who's from CRISP. It's a leading AI technology organization today in the contact center and BPM space. We've got Sandeep Arora with us, who heads the customer experience practice for Datamatics. And along with that, we'll have a few more panelists joining us. DB might be joining us. He's from Observe AI, which is also a leading technology provider in the AI space. So having said that, I'll request all of you to enjoy the webinar over the next 1 hour. Audiences will not be able to switch on their cameras or cameras at this stage, but do post your questions in the Zoom chat. We'll pick them up as we go through and as we start chatting. Most of the questions we'll answer at the end, but if there are certain questions which do come up and are relevant to be asked from our panelists, we'll ask immediately as well. With that, a quick round of introduction. Kano, would you like to start first? As I said, we'll quickly start, maybe just because from a name perspective, you're C. Kano, over to you.
Okay, so yeah, thanks, Premier, and hi, all the audience. I see like there's more than 100 audience already. This is Kano Wang. I'm in China. I'm in Chinese time zone, so a bit midnight right now. I'm really excited having this opportunity to talk to global industry elites and also global audience. We're sitting together discussing about how we can humanizing AI and blend it into our CX journey to make our CX better and better. So basically, I've been worked with this company called Newsoft. Not sure if you're aware, but we are like top software and IT technology companies in China. We're dealing about government IT software like automobile software, even medical. But CX is always core of our business, and we have been worked with Datamatics for more than 5, 10 years. Sorry, more than 4, 5, 6 years already. And yeah, I think I'm also excited to meet Grips and Observe AI, and hopefully we can give you some deep insight, and we can all learn from this webinar. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Kano. Thank you. Appreciate for your words. Jake, over to you, mate.
Yeah, hey, Prabir, first of all, thank you for having me. Hi out there for everybody. My name is Jake Frawley. I work for Crisp with a K, if you haven't heard of us. I am the Chief Revenue Officer, and I've been at Crisp for a little over a year now. And Crisp, for those of you that don't know what we do, we really pioneered an AI approach to noise cancellation. So any kind of noise that might be going on in my background, you're not going to hear it because of Crisp's AI processing. And it's both inbound and outbound. So we have a very compelling value prop to call centers and to the CX proposition we're talking about. And we have new technologies that we're introducing that are going to further this ability to have more effective customer interactions and more effective digital voice communication. And so it's exciting to talk about this topic. I like the way you phrased it. Pravir is getting the right mix of AI and humans. I think that's in the current era, that's an important part of this conversation. But happy to be here, and thank you for having me. Look forward to the discussion.
Thank you, Jake. Appreciate your time and thanks for coming. Sandeep, over to you.
Hello, everyone. So thank you very much, Jake and Kano, for being a part of today's panel. Really appreciate. And as uh, as Pravir sort of described, so Datamatics is heading towards integrated CX solutions, which is got an optimum mix of the man and the machine. So man is very important because of the CX that we're talking about. The experience requires us to humanize all our interactions, our uh, productivity, our all our resolutions, etc. But it has to be backed by a machine in order to improve the productivity of this human. And I think Datamatics is taking huge steps in driving that. Given the fact that Datamatics is an IT company which is running a contact center, um, and that wouldn't have been possible without our strategic alliances. Because in the world of today, you cannot be everything. You really have to ensure that you are sitting in an ecosystem that has got stalwarts and specialized sort of expertise from their respective areas. So thank you, and very excited to be a part of this session today.
Thank you, Sandeep, and appreciate. Hope this is a great session. While I have some questions prepared for each of you individually and collectively, but if any one of you feel that you want to either debate or not agree with either each of you or me as well, let's continue on that journey as well. So you're all allowed to interrupt each other. Just raise your hand when you want to do that. So my first question, as I start, and Kano, I'd like to ask you that how is Neosoft heading towards a journey, or in current today's environment, Neosoft, Datamatics, all of us, how will AI break the silos to create hyper personalized experience for our customers? Given AI today, there is so many different elements. There's Gen AI, there's LLMs, there's MMMs, there's beautiful different things coming across.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think previously the whole CX industry is based on designs, SOPs, and we were trying to ask our agents to act like a robot. But later, and I think gradually, like maybe for the last 5, 10 years, there's this call called there's this trending called that, like, we want our service to be warm. We want to have this moment of truth to really touch the client. But how to do it? Maybe just top 5% of each team, we got these super agents. They can act naturally, they can act strongly, and then they can echoing on clients' feeling. But how to do it really, I think majority of the agents don't have a clue. But nowadays, we're seeing we're using some of the AI existing, like the agent existing tools, with the technology like GPT. We're able to, like, the AI assistant to give the agents instant response, like script. So give you some 4 or 5 options you can choose, and instead of you just using code word, using your SOP mindset. But however, the thing is, like, when you train this assistant, you need to use the best of your strong agents case. um, I think that's also struggles the whole industry. Like, we have GPT tools, but how do we train GPT becomes becomes a super agent, and that's where, like, Datamatics and Newsoft, we are players here, right? We're doing technology and BPO together. So we're trying to find our best practice in the industry and feedback to the machines, to feedback to the software, so that eventually we want to, with this new technology, and to serve the clients, like, not just SOPs. So, for example, the client saying something about why and when he bought this product, and really we can correlate it to the news regarding to this product, regarding to the place of where he bought the product, and to find that moment of truth. But without this technology, really, uh, we cannot find, our agents cannot have this big variety of knowledge of knowing all the places, knowing all the products. So that's why I'm thinking, like, with strong AI development, that our CX center will have more and more personalized conversation with the client, to touch their feelings, to touch their like, win the return of the of gave us a better satisfaction, and eventually increase the ROI of the whole industry. So that's my just sharing about this topic. It's not really deep, but I think this is really most BPOs are doing, and most software company, AI software company for CRMs, are trying to achieve. Yeah.
And thank you, Kano. And I think that's quite interesting that you brought up. While the AI is there, now training the AI or training GPT or training various LLMs to deliver what they are supposed to in this world and deliver the exceptional experience every time when you touch a customer's journey point or a customer's journey touch point, you require a human in order to train and in order to create that. And that's pretty much one aspect of humanizing the digital, besides I would say a lot of other elements. I mean, look at it. AI has been there for such a long time, and then came automation, then came machine learning, and then came AI's chat GPT, so and so forth. But at every element, were they allowed to run independent on their own is not the point. The point is how they were trained. And that's, I would say, is one part of humanizing the digital. Sandeep, do you want to add any words around this particular subject on hyper personalized experience using AI?
Yes, absolutely. I think one of the core benefits of AI is to really um, arrive at a stage where you are able to mass customize, the segment of one, really. How can I have a one-to-many interactions without the many people having to feel that they are being talked to as a group or as a segment? So with the fact that we have the processing powers, in the day and age of today, and the fact that we have lots of data about what people do, how they do, with what frequency do they display certain behavior, we are not only able to understand how they work, but also predict in terms of how they are going to behave in the near future. So this helps in hyper personalization. It also helps you, therefore, be proactive versus reactive. And I think the proactivity helps in a rather customized proactivity helps in bringing a huge amount of shift in the experience, which results in high degrees of loyalty and and brand commitment. So that's really the positive side of it, and we should really look at that. Having said that, sometimes hyper personalization also results in something known as stalking. It could really amount to that. If
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
well, you have to be an invisible, um, uh, you know, a com- you have to be an invisible friend who shows up when you need the person versus trying to become a CCTV, or a I mean, who needs a parent after a while, right? So if somebody's going to tell you all the time that, hey, why did you do this? Or I know what you did last summer, like nobody wants to know that, right? So I think these are two aspects of hyper personalization. We need to ensure that there are enough governance in place and enough focus in place for the providers to be self-responsible to drive that.
Thank you, Sandeep. And I think great point brought up. Uh, invisible friend. Love that aspect. So AI should be, and AI is our invisible friend. And I understand, as you mentioned, that Datamatics has created such options for our customers to provide an invisible friend, so that the role of AI is not like, not like a stalker. I love that point. Thank you so much. We really appreciate. Jake, going over to you. You know. How will this entire change in this industry, and with such a huge amount of risk attached with AI, which is, I would not say huge amount of risk, I'll say if not governed properly, there can be situations of hallucination and others coming up in the market. What are your thoughts on that? And then on top of that, how is your organization catering to the changing landscape of AI to enhance customer experience?
Yeah. Well, so the topic of AI risk, I mean, we hear a lot about hallucinations. I don't know if you've had your own experiences asking GPT for some answers, and you know that it's not quite right. Um, I think that's indicative of an emerging technology. So first and foremost, I think, these things will start to improve over time. But I do think it's important to understand what the derivatives are that AI, especially generative AI, what the derivatives are being derived from. What is the underlying data source? Because at the end of the day, especially with generative AI, it's about associations. It's about associations between words and data associations. And that's kind of looking at the world from almost like a relational database standpoint, organizing the way we think about things. And so it's actually, I look at AI not from a risk standpoint. You always, of course, look from at any business investment from a risk reward, like how much risk am I taking on for the upside that I'm potentially going to get out of it. And clearly the upside for generative AI is substantial enough that some of the risks that we're talking about are risks that we're willing to endure. Doesn't mean that we can't focus on reducing that risk, but and certainly there's a lot of industry players that are. But I think the upside right now is sufficient enough that it warrants the risk that we're taking on. Now, there's also risks in not having generative AI, and let me give you an example. Um, one of the capabilities that Crisp actually provides is transcribing a conversation like this and then summarizing the key points. And even if there's action items, we can delineate those and assign them. What I found interesting is that I, as a human, if I'm conducting a meeting and I'm taking notes as I'm conducting the meeting and I'm trying to get my action items, and even if I've recorded the meeting, by the way, and I go back through it and I say, okay, well, what are the key action items? I'm going to send those out. I'm going to send a summary of this meeting out. Guess what? I'm still a human. And humans are prone to error. Humans are also prone to bias. And so what I found really interesting in using this technology is that I'll get done with a meeting, and what I see summarized in terms of the key action items and key points are things that I might have never in the moment thought about. Because why? I'm thinking about what action items are most important to me, what key points are most important to me. There's an inherent bias to the way that we process information as humans. So I see GPT and generative AI as an example as a risk mitigator, because it actually it keeps me honest to say, okay, that's great, Jake. You as a human thought these were the three important action items, but guess what? I picked up 10, and I'm not here to say which are more important than others yet. But the point is, it's a more objective third party, if you think about it that way, that is really important in offsetting bias in particular. And so for me, I think that's one of the key AI de-risking elements that we maybe underappreciate, but it's certainly there. The second question you asked is, hey, how is Chris, changing this this kind of landscape in terms of customer experience and hyper-personalized experiences? We've all been support call, right? Like where you get tossed from one department to another. Hey, oh, I'm sorry, you need to talk to another department. Well, isn't this the same company? No, but that's a different department. Okay. So I'm assuming that once you've transitioned me to the new department, of course, you're going to know about the previous conversation. And of course, we've all experienced it. You get tossed from one place to another. Same company, as you said, customer journey, but it feels incredibly disjointed. And I think the really fascinating part about AI in what we call like breaking down silos in the customer experience is why should who should be looking at all of those different interactions and touch points holistically? Because that's what I'm experiencing. And we all know that the reality is there really isn't anybody who's looking at every single there's nobody who's living my experience empathetically through all of these places that I mean generative AI and GPT tech can address that, because you're looking at all of these touch points. You're looking at the profile of a customer. You're understanding things that the individuals who are touching you in silos aren't going to see the whole picture. And so that's certainly an area where AI technologies are going to greatly enhance the customer experience, which humans aren't able to do, especially in a lot of these large organizations that have very siloed and disjointed customer touch points.
So what you're saying, Jake, is that AI is helping to shrink the world further.
Yes.
So earlier, if we go back about 1,000 years, they would say, the world is kind of like only from here to here, and then realize the world is round, and then realized it takes months to go from one place to the other. After that, with the airplanes, we can travel there in hours, and with jet planes, we can travel there at faster than the speed of light at Mach 2, Mach 3, Mach 4, so and so forth. So what you're saying is the customer's journey, if you look at it, is absolutely huge from one point to the other, totally disjointed in the elements and different areas doing different things in any organization for that matter. Because when you talk to organizations, the sales department builds a strategy for the customer, the product department builds the product, then
Right.
post that the person on the ground servicing the customer does the customer service, and maybe the collections people start making the collection. I'm sure all the four departments have no idea of what's most of the time. I'm not saying all the time, and pardon if certain organizations take offense to that. Most of the organizations would not have an idea. But truly, with AI coming in, the entire customer journey is getting stitched together more like a small ball right in your hand. And today, with what we see on Agent Assist and the other tech and technologies in the AI space, which we all bring to the table, you're able to see the look and feel of the entire customer journey in one view, so that you don't have to every time say, hello, let me put you to another department, you know And that brings to an
Absolutely.
interesting. Sorry, no, but sorry, you were saying something, Jake.
No, just agreeing with your point. I mean, it's so important, right? Like,
Yeah.
look, you've emailed customer support, you're calling them, maybe multiple calls, you're getting passed around. All of this information is really important and relevant, and no single human, really, it's a very difficult problem to solve. That's GPT solves that problem. Generative AI, I should say. I keep saying GPT, but it's
Yeah.
really generative AI at large, is understanding, look, here's the profile of all the things you've done, and now I have empathy for the journey you've been through. Oh, I'm so sorry. I see that you emailed us yesterday about this issue. You've called twice today. To have that information real time is a super powerful concept, and it's just something you probably haven't experienced today, either on the sales side of a call or a support side of a call. Either way, there's this idea of a disjointed experience. It's very difficult to address, and AI really has an opportunity to address this in a real way for the first time. So it's very exciting.
No, thank you for that, and really appreciate that. I have a question, and Kano, to you. While we've
Yeah.
right now spoken about AI getting the entire customer journey together, we spoke about de-risking it. Sandeep mentioned about the invisible friend. You spoke about the change in culture. Uh, how can AI, and I'll move to the risk factor while we said, there's a bit of a risk always, but how can AI help you de-risk your operations? Is there a possibility that AI can help you de-risk your operations while AI itself could have, certain governance requirements which we all put in place? So can AI help you de-risk your operations? How do we do that?
Yeah, exactly. So basically, I think Jake has brought a very good point just now. So AI is we can use AI as a tool. So in case you got emotional, and in case you get lost your memories about some knowledge, so AI is the bottom line or guideline here. So in the case like his meeting, so he become biased, he becomes objective but AI is there to remind him, okay, this is the case. Like maybe you can check it from this perspective again. So this real time reminder kind of assistant definitely can reduce our the stress level of our agents, and eventually, if the agent is less stressful, then we have a lesser chance to have a high risk complaint from a very strong conflict between the agent and the customers. And also, even I think to talk about like hyper personalized and de-risk perspective, I think AI can do so much more because previously when we have Siri, so everyone's excited. Oh, maybe later on, the chatbot, the AI, the voice robot can replace agents. However, no one likes to talk to a chatbot. No one likes to talk to a voice AI. Eventually, people enjoy talking to people, and when they talk to people, and then the people can understand them. However, like the case Jake also mentioned, like because of there could be some uh, repeating word, some long pending word, then somewhere in the middle the agent lost track. AI is the good tool that can get everything back on track and to fast and make it more efficient to resolve a long pending or high risk high
So
risk cases.
that's
Yeah.
fantastic. And kind of so what I'm hearing from both of you is the support that AI provides to the agent makes the agent the super agent. The support that's provided helps
Yeah.
de-risk the operations.
Yeah. I
Uh,
think the whole
that is all the
industry.
elements. Sorry, you're saying something.
Yeah, I think the whole industry nowadays understand that we're not really trying to use AI to replace human, but really AI works with human and they improve together to a better CX.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the augment and support is what is providing to provide the hyper personalized experience, and that's where we say it's humanizing the digital and not digitizing the human. We're not creating robots. We're just
Yes.
helping the people become better at the role or the job that they are doing, rather than replacing them from what they
Yes.
are doing. That brings to a point, Sandeep. I know two, 3 points have been brought up right now, and I would want to throw this to you. And you also mentioned about efficiencies, and you mentioned about brand commitment and the role of AI, etc. And there's been conversations around agent assistance. There's been conversation around supporting the agent. There's been conversation about shrinking the entire customer journey and making it a one-stop shop. So, what does that do, and how do you improve the efficiencies and save costs at the same time without compromising on the overall customer experience? Do you think whatever the team has been talking about right now will help us achieve that? Or what do you think about it? What does Datamatics think about it, about the entire efficiency, cost of operation impact?
Yeah, so I think so fundamentally, I'm a firm believer of the fact that whenever you introduce automation, you cannot really compare, um, the change of rate on a row level basis. So you cannot say, oh, guess what? You were charging me, $15 per FT earlier. Um, sorry. Okay. So it was um, $15 per hour earlier, and now uh, after you've introduced the technology, then I continue to have the FTEs plus technology. So how am I really being benefited, et cetera, et cetera? So fundamentally, the focus has to shift from the existing pricing models to a different pricing model. And what that would do is it would necessarily have a reduction in the TCO, which is the total cost of operations. So how do I basically move from a FT per hour model to which was completely manual, saying how many people do we really sort of put on the job that you have? How, but if I have to sort of move into a tech sort of a space, then it's really how do you basically do the whole thing faster, better, and in a lot more economical way than you were doing it earlier. So what needs to be compared is output to output versus the process to process. So if you are able to handle that, and if your customers are flexible at accepting that, saying that, okay, fine, my KRAs also are at a TCO level versus at a FT per hour level, then it makes sense. Then I think things would certainly move. You can deploy AI. You can ensure that there is a win-win that sort of results in deployment of, more technology, better ways of working. But if that's not the case, then of course, I mean, everybody has their house to run, right? At the end of the day.
I think great point, Sandeep, and thank you. And I know people are taking on this technology and also talking about it. But at the same time, there's sometimes a little bit of reticence within the organizations to actually make a change. But I'm sure with the way that things are moving, in 2 to 3 years, we're going to see. I'm sure everybody will be adopting this technology, and a lot of people are adopting it even now. There's a huge change which we observe in the market, and that's where all our organizations which are on the call today and others as well are ensuring to help the customer. So if your customer experience is better utilizing a humanized digital assistant or digital journey, and at the same time your overall cost of operations goes down, your revenue increases, and best thing is you're providing to the industry and the people. But that's a fantastic win-win for everyone. With said that, we've just got DB joining. Sorry, Sandeep, you're saying something?
Yeah, I would also like to add that I think given our size, we are also able to be very flexible at not only adjusting to various ecosystem that's already running at the customer's end, but also at the whole engagement model. And I think that's really one of the differentiators which I've seen help us close some business very, very quickly.
Thank you, Sandeep. And again, that goes back to the hyper personalized. So, not only hyper personalization for the customer's customer, but also hyper personalization for the customer and hyper personalization for the agent as well. So that is what hyper personalization and digitization is. It is not about the customer's journey. It is not about the journey of the organization. It's not about the journey of the agent. It's about the journey of each and every one of them. And that is what hyper personalization means from a customer experience. Because customer experience is customer's experience, customer's experience, and the experience of the agent or the people who are doing the job, which is, all of you and all of us as well over here. And thank you for that really insightful thought. We've got DB who just joined us. I know he was having some trouble joining in. DB, thank you for joining us. We've had a quick round of introduction. I did introduce you, but maybe a few words from you about you and your organization and about all of us. And then I have some really brilliant questions which I have in a pocket for you to put you in a flux.
Thank
So over
you.
to you.
Can you hear me?
Absolutely loud and clear,
Yes.
DB. Now everything's clear.
Hey, first I apologize. My flight got delayed and then I rushed. I'm still not checked in, but somewhere in my hotel room, so I got a cooler spot. So
Fantastic.
yeah, I joined Observe AI beginning of this year. I lead the go-to-market for Observe AI. They are essentially a conversation intelligence platform. Like, how do you use Gen AI to empower humans, right? So prior to that, quick introduction. I was with Twilio for 3 years. Prior to that, I was with Oracle, and then I have started my career as investment banker in New York, and then moved to Cognizant Technology with Dell, and then went 24/7 AI. So always worked in the CX space, essentially helping, like you said, Praveer, like what can the experience look like for the end customer, and then what can the experience look like, whether you call them agents, customer service, experts, like Nike calls them athlete, some customers calls them coach, whatever be your brand, like how my passion is customer experience itself is becoming the product differentiator, right? And what I mean for your audience is, if you are a hotel and you are platinum with a certain hotel, the other hotel will match the same price with your status. It's like how I'm welcomed, how easy it is to get the credit card with the bank, right? So it's the process of, when I'm touching your brand, how do I discover your brand, how do I engage, how do I consume your product, how do I get served and become loyal, this entire journey. I feel the experience itself is becoming the differentiator rather than the price or the rewards, right, across industry. And that's my experience. My experience has been how to drive that CX that will help both the brand, the customer, and the agent. Hope that helps.
No, thanks, DB. And DB, for the benefit of our team here, I'm an entire and the audience, and for whoever might want be listening to the videos. So, how does Observe AI use Gen AI and LLM for contact centers, and how does it help the life of the agent, the life of the customer, and the customer experience? And a little bit more about what do you bring to the table for all of us? Kano is from China, Jake is from US, part of Chris, and you know us. We've been working together for some time, you and me, on various conversational AI products. So, what do you think? How does it help our agent's life and the agent experience and the customer's experience as well about Observe
Yeah,
AI?
that's a great question. So I think, like right now, generative AI is the hot word, right? You go to any conference, you go to any company, the board is saying to their C-level, hey, do something with Gen AI. But unfortunately, most of the people don't understand like what to do with it, right? The beauty is both AI and machine learning really started in contact center and customer service, right? The people used to talk about next best offer, next best action, which can empower a call center agent doing a call, and that's nothing but a form of an AI. And then I'll talk about Gen AI. So I think at a highest level, for Observe AI, we have been 6+ years in this business, and Praveen and I work with joint customers, where you provide your call center agent and technology. Sometimes we are private leveled with that. So we have been 6 years in business. We have raised around 220 million. We are funded by soft banks and mellows of the world. The core difference is, we went and visited call center. We took like 3 billion contact center interactions, which are very different than what you're talking to your Google Home or Amazon Lex, right? That conversation is very different. We built 40 billion parameters, and we created our own ASR, which is the speech recognizer, and our own LLMs, right? So it's very different than going to chat GPT, which is open source, which is like large domain. That's great for certain applications. I'm not saying that. But if you are a large enterprise and you want your conversations to be in the closed wall, so then you need like a similar model like Observe AI has. So it's our own ASR, own LLM. So that's the core of the technology, right? And it's learning only from your conversations, right? So you're a bank,
So,
you're a
so
healthcare.
sorry.
Yep.
So how does all of that, help enhance the customer's journey, and how does it help? What is the play of human in this entire digital journey? How does it help to take that forward?
Excellent question. So I would say think that conversation is your next oil. That's the most important data. Gone are the structured data that Praveer is in Philippines. This is the place he lives. This many assets he has. So the conversation you're having. So our product plays two role. One is post conversation. So once the conversation with your agent and your customer happened, can you text mine 100% of these conversations, automate your quality process with 100% conversations rather than 2% conversations, extract the insights, helps them to do the coaching both for your supervisors and your team leads and your QA, but also go all the way where it is today's newer generation contact center agents are more self-serviceable. They want an auto coach. Think like post conversation is creating almost an autopilot that is analyzing immediately after the work. So your first use case is you can automate the entire QA system, but more than the cost, it's the quality because you're now understanding 100% of the conversations rather than 2 or 3%. The second good case studies is every call center after call you have to document a lot of this, which is called after call work. So with Gen AI, with a accuracy of 60, 98, 99%, you automate the entire thing. So you save 60 to 90 seconds. Like if you are a lending company, if you're a mortgage company, there's a lot of after call work. If you're dealing with healthcare provider in US, you have to document everything you told me as a patient, and that has to be typed somewhere. So that auto summarization, auto call work, there's a second use case. And then last use case we are seeing that now with the compute power, this generative AI is able to do think like I have an intelligent executive assistant and an AI tool. Think like Microsoft Copilot for the call center agent. So as the call is happening, the software is real time understanding what's going on, and I'm able to coach the agent. Say the agent is not tenured, so you can reduce the training time and say, hey, you cannot upsell in this call because the customer is very irritated, and that sentiment analysis is happening while the call is going on. And it's not just the word, it's the word, the tonality, the dead voice. So when I say 40 billion parameters, there's a lot of parameters to understand, hey, this is an irate customer. So in summary, you're doing in real time three things. You're either offering the next best offer, next best action in the right time. You're also understanding the sentiment of the call. And then the third thing, any expert in your call center, a supervisor, just like whispering or having a supervisor join a chat or a two-way messaging, that technology has gone a step up where this supervisor can auto coach with the agent while the call is going on without the end customer knowing.
Beautiful, beautiful, and that helps increase the agent experience.
Ab-
For like you said, agent, or people use different names, CMS, customer management reps, so and so forth. Which I think Kano and Jake were also mentioning. If their life is simpler, the customer's life becomes simpler. At the same time, with that, the accuracy level goes so high that the customer journey, the touch points we were talking about just before you came in, the the errors in the journey shrink, and the journey shrinks really one. It just becomes a one touch or one stop shop for the people, for our customer, and for customers' customer. At the same time, overall enhancing and reducing the cost to serve for our customers as well. I think that's fantastic, and great for partnering with me and with my team over the last 5 6 years. The journey that we've gone through. So that's great. Thank you for that. We'll come back to you with a few more questions. DV, don't disappear. I know you're sitting outside your room 109. Just one more second before we allow you into the room. Uh,
Yeah.
with that, Sandeep, before we get on the questions, I'd like to ask, with all that we've heard right now, and I was trying to not summarize to say a few things. How do you maintain a human and AI balance, provide cost efficiencies, use products from like I heard that you have a product called True CX Pro, a solution that you're launching using Observe AI, Crisp, and a lot of other things, and also your own enhanced products from that you've developed. How do you then create that human and AI balance? Do you really think you'll be able to do that, or will there be a compromise that you'll have to reach to say, okay, I might have to somewhere compromise the balance for cost or cost for balance, and then maybe Observe AI cannot deliver, or maybe Crisp doesn't deliver, or the risk of everything?
Okay, so this is a very double-barreled question. So yeah, so I'm wondering whether I should turn left or right while responding to this.
Go straight.
See,
Go straight.
Go straight. Okay, yeah, that's a good option. I think so. Going straight, fundamentally, see, at the end of the day, you know, um, experience is such a subjective thing. It becomes difficult to sort of assess, like, what is the real value somebody puts for it, and and therefore, my personal sort of recommendation is, like once David Ogilvy, who was the guru of advertising, said, like, customer is not a fool, she's your wife. So so it basically means whenever you're talking about experience, you really have to ensure that you're really not cutting corners as a buyer. And therefore, you should really try to leverage two things. One, what is the available technology out in the market? Secondly, what is the available consumer insights that is also available, so that you could actually address the pain points after you've understood the pain points, correct? In that light, I think True CX Pro, which Datamatics has come out with, I think it sort of sits in the balance where it actually is a collaborative ecosystem of all the key partners, and keeping their strengths in mind, and the fact that there is a customer at the end of the day, who the entire thing is being targeted. So when you bring both of these together, you are able to ensure that you are able to um, leverage collective, individual capabilities towards a collective good. So that's really the whole sort of objective behind it. And I'm confident that given the fact that we have very, very strong partner ecosystem, as well as the fact that we have a fairly strong team which understands uh, customers and consumers like never before, we should be able to put together a very um, irresistible sort of a product in the market. So I really look forward to collaboration from everyone here on the panel for that. And I hope that we are able to do it effectively. Uh, let's see how it goes. Fingers crossed.
Thank you, Sandeep. I don't like to cross fingers. I like to cross hair, and that's why I have no more hair on my head, because the point is everything worked out. Everything works out well. What you think should work out well. So with that, I'll quickly open the round for any questions. Team, if you have any questions, please do point out and put it in the chat window. And while you're putting the questions in the chat window, I'll maybe go around the table wants to have a few more words if anyone wants to add a few to what Sandeep had to say, or the others. Oh, we've got a question here. What is the role of people with digitized AI, and will AI replace people altogether? This is from Vince. DB, you want to take that question since you came in late? It's an interesting
Yeah.
question, so I'm going to throw this to you.
Yeah,
What is the
definitely.
role of people with digitized AI, and will AI replace people altogether?
I think with every technology, people think immediately, I like this word that, customer is like your wife, right? Like they're smart, they have IQ, EQ. I think humans always get scared that and see the negative side of technology that, yeah, am I going to lose my job with the AI, right? Like, so AI is no different. First of all, AI is not new. Generative AI may be relatively new, but in general, machine learning AI has been there for 20, 30 years. Means, automation is a form of an AI also, right? Robotic process automation is an AI that didn't, I still feel McDonald's has their people, FedEx has their own people, all that stuff. So I think one, it is going to empower and make the people's job easier. So like they will simplify an agent, an expert, an athlete, a supervisor, a leader's life, because you are essentially able to process data or get the next, like what to do, those things. So your routine work will be automated, which essentially makes you to create the real empathy that, like, Sandeep, you're talking about, in like how do you really measure CX? It's very hard to measure true EQ in a conversation. So that's one. I think it will help in productivity. The second part is very important to understand is when you think about chatbot or voice bot or IVR, it's only automating low hanging stuff. And it's just not the technology, it's the process. Meaning you can say password reset is such an easy thing. Why do people still call for password reset? The underlying reason is maybe completely different. You have an older email and your email has changed and your resetting password is going to the old email. It could be you had a joint account and now you're a single account, and the bank will not allow you to give your password because the other spouse or partner is not consenting to that. But the beauty of AI is now the because these low hanging 10-20% of interactions are automated, really complex things are coming to actual call center. And companies are wondering, okay, I have implemented chatbot and AI. Why is my calls not reducing? That's because they are also not understanding the interaction that's happening at human level to see what can or cannot be automated. So the short answer is AI is not to replace all human labor, whether it's call center or otherwise. It's essentially going to enable them a lot. But of course, there will be automation in low hanging stuff, right? Like, I don't think even the call center agent on the other side enjoys a conversation where he or she is just resetting a password, right? That would be my take on this area, right?
No, thank you, DB. And I think that's a very good thought. So AI is here to make people smarter and make their
Yep.
job actually easier, even complex functions easier, and enhance their capability and enhance the role that they're doing. So it is
Correct.
not just a it's not a call center anymore, right?
Yep.
Those call center days are gone. It's more
Correct.
today it's a contact center. Tomorrow it's going to become a knowledge center to help and assist the customer. I think that's very well put. Thank you so much, DB, for that. Really
And it's
appreciate.
your brand. One thing is it's your brand. Like people don't understand this frontline people is representing your brand to your end consumer, right? If you're an
Yeah,
Apple, an Nike, or a USAA, it doesn't matter. Like you're that 30, 40, 20,000 frontline people are your brand.
yeah.
And if you can make their life easy, it happens. Like I don't want to read 17 article to answer my customer. I want a knowledge AI where it can exactly tell me what should I tell the customer.
That's right. No, true. And thank you for that. Thank you. Really appreciate. Jake, I have a question for you. Since you have been through various startup tech firms, and now again you joined a startup tech firm, Crisp. And I hope you stay there, or maybe another year you might be somewhere else with a new startup. I hope your guys are not listening. But given your experience, what are some of the leading technologies that can be leveraged today, to ensure a holistic CX experience? What are some of the leading technologies? I mean, you don't need to name the companies, but just generally, what are the leading tech? I know DB mentioned quite a few, but what are your thoughts on it?
Well, first of all, I think obviously generative AI in particular has created quite an advantage for anybody in any knowledge role, right? And so I would say the first and foremost, you can get this today, right? If Microsoft offers, free queries into GPT if you're using their browser, their Edge browser with Copilot. And so I think that's a great starting point. I think this idea of a silver bullet for AI at the center, it really isn't a thing. I think the endpoints are going to be the thing. And as DB said, like AI has been around for a long time. We're just starting to wake up as a broad society around AI because we now are attaching it to GPT and generative AI in particular. But AI spans well beyond generative AI. At the core of AI technologies, almost all technologies, is data. And so what I would say is if we're talking about AI at the core, we have to think about data. And the more data that we have, proprietary data to harvest and to analyze, the more powerful our AI solutions are going to be at all of those various endpoints. So that's the model that I think makes sense for AI. It's not at the core, it's at the endpoints. At the core is data. And so data is going to be very important for all of these scenarios. Now, Crisp in particular was AI before AI was cool and generative AI was a thing. And we process noise and we remove noise using AI technology versus very expensive hardware to do noise cancellation. And so there's a lot of applications that we can't get too myopic in the CX space around AI, meaning generative AI. We have to think about all of these technologies holistically. Another technology that we've introduced is the ability to, in real time, convert a non-English accent into an American English accent. And this is a problem for offshore call centers, right? I can't understand what you're saying. Can you give me to somebody? Well, no, this is a listener comprehension issue that can now be addressed through AI and not generative AI. But all of these technologies elevate the customer experience. So that's the one thing I would leave with in this conversation between,
Thank you.
where does AI start and stop? Yeah, it's a very exciting time to be in the industry for sure.
Thank you, Jake, and really appreciate that. I know we've just got a few minutes left, but we've got a few questions which have come in. So I'll request everyone to be very quick. Kano, I have a question for you on this one. I know we were mentioning about people, etc., etc. Do you really think that there's going to be such an impact on the industry that the industry might not be there tomorrow? Because there's a question like that came up. What will
No,
happen to this industry? Will this
no,
industry disappear?
definitely no. Yeah, definitely no. I think we're used to be thinking ways to improve on the customer side, but really, I have this wild guess that maybe the next step is not really something for the agents. It should be something for the client. So, for example, we're talking about where our agents having AI assistants. They have us to record all the repeating stuff, record all the SOPs, and give recommendations. However, if we're talking to some specific process like refund, or is the really delay happening at agent side? I don't think so. It could be our agent asks the client to provide some proof. We're checking with logistic where the package. We're checking about the payment, like which account we should pay due to for the refund, but they're not replying on time. So actually, I'm not sure. Like, I think some of the some of the companies in the industry has started to do this customer assistant kind of technology, so that you can talk to the AI, so the AI can help you place orders. In that way, I think that could be the next step, and we have seen that in a lot of science fiction films. Like we have talked to a robot, they do things for us. So really, that's not eliminating the agent industry, but they are eliminating some. They're making the human life easier, but
So
eventually there will be
largely eliminating
disputes.
the non-value add stuff, right? And
Yes,
creating more
exactly.
value add stuff. So it's been a fantastic conversation
Yes.
with everyone. I know we are towards the end of it. I know there's lots more thought, and we can have another session on the same or different topic. A few questions have come up. I'll quickly try to address them and recap. There's a question on enable agents with decision making. I think DB covered that, Jake covered that, and even Kano mentioned that. It's about enabling the agent and not taking the creativity of the human cannot go out. That will not be or cannot be replaced by AI, especially at this stage as we see it. Science fiction can take us where I don't know, and I will not comment on that. But E is equal to MC square always stays. The theory of relativity stays, but the theory of creativity does not get destroyed. That's all I'll say, and which will still be maintained at any point of time. A question which was there, AI impact on the environment. I want to take that up myself rather than giving to anyone in the panel. AI will, yes, it is using a lot of power today, a lot of computing power and so on and so forth, and there are questions being raised on that. Now, while those questions are being raised, at the same time, there are technologies coming into play like solar power, so and so forth, and alternate power solutions rather than utilizing carbon fuel, which will help neutralize a lot of this aspect that is coming across because of AI using a lot of computing power, etc., so and so forth. So it's an area to watch. I won't say no or yes to that, but definitely an area to watch. So thank you so much for the lovely question. So I would like to thank the entire, 121 people. We were 136. I think 14, 15 dropped off because they got bored with me talking too much. But that's all right. We'll come back to you guys later. But thanks a lot, Kano. Thanks a lot, Jake. Thanks a lot, DB. Thanks a lot, Sandeep. And thanks a lot to everybody else for joining us today. We'll keep you posted about our next level. Net, what we've said is it is humanizing the digital. The digitization is here to support the human, not to eliminate or eradicate or replace. It's just going to help us become smarter and sharper at what we do. But look forward to more on this. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. Thank you.